Hello again, everybody. A lot of people have been messaging or writing comments wanting me to do an update on the Lasius Flavus, and I haven't been. And one of the reasons, or the main reason I haven't been, is I can't get their nest, or haven't been able to get their nest to dry out enough to be able to film in there. And honestly, it's not like I'm watering this regularly. In fact, I think I've only watered this nest twice since it came out of hibernation. But still, I can't get rid of the water on the top of the nest. I think I'm going to do a video on nests later on, because I'm firmly convinced that airflow really matters. And I'll talk about this in another video. But anyway, what I did was I sort of tipped the nest slightly up and was tapping one corner a little bit until I could get a few drops to actually run across the top. And as it runs, it collects other drops and it creates some clear streaks so that I could look inside. And I'm glad I did, because what I can see inside, or what I could see inside, was really shocking. Yeah, it looked to me like half the ants, or possibly even more than half the ants that were in there, were either dead or in the process of dying. They were on their backs, moving in, well, not moving, but just sort of waving a leg around or waving an antennae around. It did not look good at all. So I decided to take radical action, and basically unscrewed the top off the nest, and I hate doing this. I really hate doing this, and I advise against it except in the most extreme circumstances. Yes, I dumped them out of that nest into the outworld. There were a few casualties, got caught under the lid and while I was unscrewing it, and things like that, but surprisingly, once I dumped them, and it took them a little while, it took them 30 minutes to an hour, where they just sat around in the outworld, and I was really concerned. But after about an hour, they did start moving, and they have moved everything in to the other nest that they had, and I've given them a second one of those, so they've got two nests again. But the second nest this time, it's just another humid module from Wakushi. Like I said, I was very concerned at first. They were very sluggish. The queens just sat there. Normally, if you dump a queen out of the nest like that, they normally scuttle for the first bit of cover they can find. But they just sort of sat there. All the ants were very sluggish. Now, I've got a theory, and it is only a theory. I don't know if it's correct, but I wonder if, because of the build-up of the moisture in there, and because it's very hot, and the dew point, the amount of water that can be held in the air, would have increased. What can happen, and I saw this happen on an ants holifer video once, is that ants can actually suffocate in very humid environments because the water basically condensates on the ants, and that's what drowns them, because they can't actually breathe because the water's condensating on them like it's condensating on the acrylic. I don't know. This is just a theory. They are a lot better now they're out of that nest. However, I have a second concern, and that is, and I hope this is normal, I hope it's natural, but they are mostly, from what I can see, or perhaps even exclusively, producing more elates now. It would be nice if they produced elates, and I'd love to see some queens. I'd love to see some female elates, because what is scaring me is that I've got the same issue that I had with my old Lasius niger colony, and I've got some sort of fertility issue with the Lasius Flavus. In case anyone isn't aware, queen ants, they store the sperm from their mating in a special organ, and that is stored for life inside their body so that they can release sperm to fertilize eggs. And that sperm has to be kept, you know, in good conditions. And if it gets too hot or something like that, or the ant is too stressed, then the sperm that they're keeping can die, and then they become infertile, which is what I still think happened to my main 5-year-old Lasius niger colony. And the queen died on her 5th birthday, basically. And I think that she'd stopped producing fertile workers, or fertilizing eggs before that, at about 4 years, and this colony's 4 years old. So I'm hoping that lightning isn't striking twice, but I'm concerned about the fertility of my Lasius Flavus colony. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. I'll keep you informed as things go on. Until next time, goodbye.